great start already.
For all you audio listeners, he waited to start, and he just looked at me and stared at me, and then just all of a sudden slowly started. I don't know what's going on. Just
he's on Christopher Nolan time. You should be going backwards. Why are you not going backwards?
This is me talking backwards.
Except you should be also going forwards at the same time. You got to be going forwards and backwards.
I can't do that at the same time.
And then we need a 20-minute monologue about how that works.
We're not watching Christopher Nolan. No, in case you don't remember what you clicked on, it is Avatar Day. But not that episode.
That's not that episode.
That's right. We're talking about the new Avatar The Last Airbender episode. We're keeping along with... We did last week was episode 16.
The Deserter.
So this week is episode 17. I can count.
What's the name of the episode?
No, I'm not sure, and I do not remember the name. It's the one with the
inventor. The Northern Air Temple.
It's one with the inventor guy, right?
The inventor.
Yeah, which I am very excited because in the live action...
It's supposed to be Danny Pudi.
Yeah, buddy.
I relate to this episode. People with disabilities. Yo.
Respect.
You don't get to do that. That's ours.
I don't know what else I can say to that. But anyway, I am excited to watch this as the inventor. Yeah, I kind of remember, the plot with everything.
Is this the one where Aang gets really mad, like?
Yeah, this is called Aang the Gatekeeper.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Like, well, they're not really flying, I think is something he says.
No, they're just
He gets all smug
with
about
style.
It's kind of a...
You can't fly like me.
It's like that Origin of the Camel book where the camel just keeps going so much that they give him two of them.
What?
Humps. You'd never read that book?
No!
It's literally a kid's book about the camel kept going to everyone, so then some like sorcerer person gives him the two humps on his back.
Because he goes, hump?
Yeah. Hump.
Huh.
So that's Aang in this episode. Aang is just like,
Everybody, I think Jared had a weird childhood.
Yeah, I don't remember that book at all. But anyway, you guys want to hype up this episode about what you remember? You want to just jump right into this?
This is the last episode before the North Pole.
Oh, yeah.
This is probably one of the more important episodes of season 1 as far as what it plays into in the future.
Yeah, if I remember. I don't remember much else then.
It's
the inventor and there are tanks in it.
The Hotel of Tanks.
It's another episode where we get to see that Sokka is actually intelligent.
That's right, yeah.
Because of the flappy
he
thing.
Helps out with, yeah.
Well, let's watch it.
Let's do this. Let's watch this episode. Let's
take a bite.
And ladies and gentlemen, never underestimate stink. Thank you, Jared, for reminding me of that incredible line. This was a good... I really, really do enjoy this episode. It's fun to see. I guess fun, maybe not the right word. It's interesting to see how the Air Temple kind of adapts and changes now that they're gone, and they figure out how to use...
It's a little sad to see the mural on the wall have, like, pipes sticking out of it. That's a little sad.
It is sad.
Or the statue to spit out smoke.
Yeah.
It is sad, but it's just interesting that they still, like... They still use, like, the, They use the air around them, obviously, but I feel like they still, like, have, like, the spirit of the airbenders when because they're creating, like, different ways to fly. So yeah. I at least appreciate that they're still, like, using the air like the airbenders did back in the day.
And Aang comes around pretty well. He realizes, like, hey, yeah.
That's all he realized. Hey, yeah.
That was it. And basically, it took, like, one
yeah.
scene. It was one scene, basically, where he switched. But
when he...
Like, you know what? Yeah, I'll let you go in.
You have the spirit of the airbender. Okay.
But I missed something here. That's what I was thinking. Okay.
I mean...
Okay.
I noticed it in this episode. This show does a lot of... I think it's because it's for kids, telling you that something is either going to be important later or that this is a key point.
Yeah, referring to the end.
Yeah, but there's a couple other places. I can't really remember them right now, even though we just watched it. But
because I like obviously the Fire Nation coming across the hot air balloon is definitely going to come back. I was very confused when I was watching this episode because I thought the Fire Nation Air Brigade showed up in this. when they were like, "Oh, we'll be fine. They can't take to the skies, right?" And I thought they were gonna like pull the whole switcheroo and have the Fire Nation come out, but I was wrong. That was not the That's probably gonna be later in
I think
2 or 3.
2 or 3, probably 3.
So this one little skirmish basically sets up the whole reason they had the giant blimps in the finale of the show.
Which is funny because those blimps are very different than that
Yes.
attack balloon.
I'm just wondering because they have like the propellers as well, like to keep. And I never thought about it that way because they don't have any kind of air force.
I think that attack balloon did have a propeller too.
Did it?
Did it?
Yeah.
I think it was just.
I think there was a propeller coming out the back.
Huh. Yeah, it really
I don't
did.
remember. We just watched it.
It really did give them. Yeah, you're right. All the advances to take to the skies too.
Yeah, that lid thing, that's pretty smart. And that harkens to what you said before we watched the Sokka is actually pretty smart.
He's the. I mean,
Sorry.
I think we're gonna say the same. They both came up with, or him and the inventor technically came up with the idea of making when they made the natural gas smell like bad eggs. I'm like, okay, that's they did the research. Good job.
You were saying, Jake.
I was going to say, it's just at that altitude, you would think it would be incredibly hard to maintain an altitude like that with just heat like that. Like you'd think it would be very hard to. I know we do it with hot air balloons, but
So hot air balloons do in fact exist.
yes, but we're talking about a cartoon here that takes place like presumably in another world, number one, but also centuries before we live because metal is a new thing in this world apparently.
True. I don't know. I mean, there wasn't that much else tagged on to the balloons. It was pretty much just the basket, and then they had their
And the giant
bombs.
slime
Slime
bombs.
The slime bomb. Yeah, it was funny. Different bombs they thought of were slime, explosives, and stink.
It's funny watching this show, watching this specific episode. Like I remember when I was younger, and they found the Fire Nation in that inner temple part, and I was like, "Yeah, why do you do that?" And now as an adult, I look at it and I'm like, "No, I get it."
I mean, what else would you do if the Fire Nation was coming on you? Like, that was really for phrasing. I recognize that. But I too also would trade my goods and services for the
Stop!
because the Fire Nation. I don't want them to, at me. Sorry,
We just went from really inappropriate to really Gen Z really quickly. Oh.
And that's the first thing I could think. You know what? Yeah.
That's the first thing you thought
That's
of?
the first thing that I just came to my mind was the Fire Nation just coming on me. I guess I should stop saying that.
Yes, you do. Jake, talk. Jake, talk, please.
So another interesting thing, I always thought that Katara couldn't bend water that she couldn't see.
She saw all the snow around her.
Yeah, snow's made from water.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they make it sound like she's bending the water in the tanks. That's the ballast for making them flip.
You are right. They did say that, and I am confused as to why they said that. That immediately showed her.
Because it makes sense for there to be a water ballast with tanks that can like gyro themselves like that, especially without any like modern motor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was kind of interesting that they said that, but then immediately they showed her bending the snow and not the water inside. I was like, okay, sure, whatever. It was cool though, and it makes sense now as to why they.
I mean, this is always that show. They say something really dumb, and then they just show something that's really cool, and I forget that they said anything dumb.
True, because you know what was really cool? I know you mentioned those tanks, but it's really like the whoosh, like this spider webs.
Are you talking about all the people that
spider
died
web?
in this episode?
There's a lot of people that die, but
Talk about the giant,
chains.
basically like grappling hooks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those were cool.
when they Helm's Deep'd the Northern Air
Mountain.
Temple.
Oh.
Yeah, that
The mountain.
It
too.
was really cool, just like especially like when the one that you thought was going down, and then it just shot back up again. It's a cool mechanic. I just thought it was really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had completely forgotten about him making weapons for the Fire Nation. It was during the episode. I'm like, oh, that's right. I don't know why I forgot that. I remembered the battle, and I remembered parts of it. I didn't remember that part.
Yeah, I like that they hid all that in the part of the temple that you didn't know he was making weapons until they actually enter like the little secret avatar spot. Because I mean, no one else.
It does beg the question: how did he get in there?
Yeah, I think that's something people brought up before. Like, how did he get in there?
That's a very.
I mean, he's
point.
the inventor, so
he just blew a bunch of air.
Bunch of hot air.
Well, you know you're good at that, so.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. I guess it's kind of similar to the, although the one that Sokka tried fastening for the Firebender one didn't work, so maybe he's just got a.
That's true. Oh, it did work, just not in the same way.
Well, it did. Yeah.
Yeah, but explosions aren't the constant flow, and I think that's what it needs is the constant flow.
It's probably a little bit easier to just like hook a vacuum up or something like that.
But that sucks air. It doesn't.
Well, you just
blow
gotta switch it.
air.
You just gotta switch it to blow.
You would know something about that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference between sucking and blowing, and once you get that down, then you're really.
Yeah, make sure you're aware of that.
So, other
Jared.
than Dickey's talents, Jake.
Are you asking me what my talents are?
I forgot what I was going to ask you now. Sorry, it's Dickey talents.
Oh,
In sales.
Oh my god.
Well,
I mean, I don't know what else. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about in this episode?
I'm trying to think. I think it's pretty important episode. Pretty simple episode. It's good.
That's the thing.
It's a good setup to the. Oh, there is one thing. It's just a small detail and it makes sense, but they're high up and they're getting closer to the North Pole, so of course, Sokka and Katara are wearing their winter gear again.
Yeah.
I don't even think it ever showed them put it on. It just started that way. I go, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I noticed that. I go, yeah, that's a nice touch.
I honestly, they didn't even stand out to me. It's just one of those things that just
because
shows,
it's so natural for that to be happening.
Mm-hmm. It shows them they're paying attention. And speaking of paying attention, good old Dave Filoni directed this episode.
Are you sure?
Dave.
Are you sure it was him? I think it was his cowboy hat.
I think they're the same thing.
Yeehaw.
The essence of Dave Filoni is that cowboy hat, and it just goes both ways. Goes both ways.
Did I send you the TikTok of him and John Favreau talking to the Bo-Katan lady?
Yeah, I love Dave Filoni.
Isn't their name Katie Sackhoff?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Katie Sackhoff. Yeah.
What's the show she's from? Was it what is it? Battlestar Galactica? Isn't that her big show she was on?
That sounds familiar.
Think so. Yeah.
But that's unrelated.
But that's The Mandalorian, which you should be watching if you're not watching.
Don't spoil it. I haven't watched the
that's
newest episode.
Clone Wars
gotta watch.
and Rebels.
Well, that's true.
That's
Katie
where she
Sackhoff
comes
was
from.
originally from those. But.
She did not come from Rebels. Clone Wars, yes.
So
But
Clone Wars. And then within
is she? She is in Rebels. That's
she's
right.
in
She's got that
Rebels,
weird character model.
Yeah, season 3, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. Let's get back on Avatar. And is there
All
anything-
roads lead to Star Wars.
They really do. That reminds me.
So just like Star Wars, let's end.
Well, just really quick,
It will never end.
The Star Wars mention makes me want to say some of like the dog fights in the air, like the flying. It just reminded me of Star Wars fights with the ships. I just had to throw that.
Well,
out
because
there.
Star Wars is based off of like World War I dogfights.
Yeah, and you can tell it just looks.
That's just how
I know.
it
And I
works
just wanted to
now.
mention it. It just looks very good, and I like that kind of stuff. So yeah, just want to mention it. Anyway, on that note, if you like what we're listening to, or if you like what you're listening to and what we're doing, Jared, where can the good people find us on the interwebs?
You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the funny TikTok. And you can listen to us on Apple, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, and if it's YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, ring our bell, all that stuff. Check out our groovy website and rate us on all those cool things.
Absolutely. And make sure, guys, to tune in next week. We're getting there. We're getting to the finale because next week is episode 18.
Yes.
And out
He
of...
can count still.
out of 20 for this book.
So they are at the
3 more weeks left in book 1.
Yeah. So yeah, we're pretty much there at the finale. So make sure to tune in next week. It's going to be a great episode. So from all of us here at All of Slate Media, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Every Thursday when you want to watch us or whenever you want to, simply tune in and
take a bite.